is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Former Governor General and former Deputy Prime Minister Arthur Dion Hanna has died. The third tranche of COVAX vaccines arrives, and the Prime Minister unsure if the state of emergency will be extended. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Also this morning, we are going to be talking about breastfeeding in the Bahamas, what you need to know, why it's more important than ever before. And later in Morning Blend Business, we are talking about the electricity sector and meeting the challenges of the future and the present. That's all straight ahead with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce this morning. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, Arthur Dion Hanna, former Deputy Prime Minister and Governor General, who was instrumental in the attainment of a majority rule and independence in the Bahamas, dying at home yesterday. He was 93. Hanna served as a member of Parliament for 32 years, having first been elected in 1960 in Annestown. He was re-elected in 62, 67, 68, 72, 82, and 87. His daughter, Glenys Hanna Martin, is today one of the 5 PLP MPs. Hanna was appointed Deputy Premier following the attainment of majority rule in 1967 and later Deputy Prime Minister. He held that position until his resignation in 1984. He held several cabinet posts, including Minister of Education, Minister of Trade and Industry, Minister of Home Affairs, and Minister of Finance. Born in 1928 in Pompey Bay, Acklands, Hannah studied at Government High School, where he met Lyndon Pindling, who became Prime Minister after independence. Hannah later studied law in England before moving back to the Bahamas and joining the PLP. Hannah and Pindling, along with other freedom fighters of the 1960s, helped shape the modern Bahamas. Again, Arthur Dion Hannah, A.D. Hannah, dead at 93. The Bahamas receiving its third tranche of 33,600 doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine through the COVAX facility. The tranche was set to arrive in May, but was delayed several times amid high global demand for vaccines. The delayed arrival resulted in a shortage of vaccines in the country and led the government to borrow 5,000 doses from Antigua and Barbuda and halt the administration of first doses. During a ceremony for the arrival of the vaccines, Prime Minister Minnis said the government will return the borrowed doses from the tranche received yesterday. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister indicating that the government has not yet made a decision on whether it will extend the state of emergency. He says that matter is still under discussion, but he says the government will do all possible to ensure the safety of the Bahamian people, recognizing that those who are hospitalized, those who are dying, and that those who are becoming sick are the non-vaccinated. And after the National Guardian reported that multiple members of the Church of God have died or been hospitalized with COVID-19 since a youth convention held early last month, its national overseer has issued a statement now acknowledging the loss of members. But Bishop Moses Johnson did not acknowledge that some of the congregants who caught COVID and were later hospitalized or died had attended the Church of God's 66th Youth Convention. Johnson telling church members the Church of God is adhering to all guidelines recommended by the Bahamas Christian Council and approved by the Ministry of Health. The Guardian spoke with Johnson last Wednesday and asked about the reported cluster of cases connected to his church. He said he had no comment at the time. And House Speaker Halson Moultrie says he will hold an open parliament every Wednesday starting next week in Parliament Square so that the Bahamas can learn more about the legislative branch and voice any concerns they may have. Moultrie, who was speaking in the majority room in the House of Assembly yesterday, said the exercise will deepen democracy in the country. Overseas, Indonesia surpassing 100,000 confirmed COVID cases today, a grim milestone in a country struggling with its worst pandemic wave fueled by the Delta variant. Amid concerns the actual figure could be much higher. It took 14 months for Indonesia to exceed the 50,000 death mark at the end of May, and just over 9 weeks to double it. The health ministry recorded 1,747 new deaths of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, bringing the total to 100,636. Those figures are believed to be an undercount. Since the beginning of June, more than 2,800 people have died during self-isolation at home, according to Lapor COVID-19, an independent virus data group that keeps track of deaths at home. Some of those deaths are reflected in official figures, but others are not. WHO says hospitals are in need of isolation rooms, oxygen supplies, medical and personal protective equipment, as well as mobile field hospitals and body bags. The Secretary General of the Indonesia Hospital Association says intensive care beds continue to be in very short supply, especially outside of Java, where we're told there have been reports of people dying at home. In sports, our Sheldon Longley gives us an update on where things stand in Tokyo with Team Bahamas.
Good day, Bahamas. Sheldon Longley coming to you from the site of the 32nd Olympics here in Tokyo, Japan, where the news is not so great for the Bahamas. Shawnee Mary-Yubu running in the final of the women's 200 meters last night, early Tuesday morning in the Bahamas. She said she felt a hamstring coming off the curve. She didn't want to take any chances because she still had 2 rounds with the 400 meters to go. So she decided to shut it down. About halfway through the home stretch, she ended up crossing the finish line in 24 seconds last night. That was not good enough to be among any of the contenders there last night. She ended up finishing 8th in the final, 24 seconds flat. So disappointing news there for the Bahamas. But as mentioned, she still has 2 rounds of the 400 meters to go. She runs in the semifinals Wednesday morning. And if she could finish in the top 2 or be amongst the next top two fastest times, then she'll run in the final on Friday. So still a chance to make history for Shawnee. If she wins the gold medal in the 400 meters, she'll become just the second person in history to win multiple gold medals at the Olympics in the women's 400 meters, joining Marie-Josée Perec. And she would also just be the second person in history along with Perec, to win 2 straight titles, Olympic titles in the women's 400 meters. So still a chance to make history for Shawnee. Just didn't work out in the 200 meters last night. Other than her performance, we see that the other girls in the race, they were just blazing. Lane Thompson-Arash becoming the second fastest woman in history, running 21.53 seconds. That was a national record for her. Christian Mabombo, the teenage sensation from Namibia, she ran a new area and a world under 20 record of 21.81 seconds for the silver medal. And Gabrielle Thurman from the United States, she ran 21.87 seconds, finishing with the bronze last night. There were actually 4 women who went under 22 seconds last night. Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, the multiple global champion from Jamaica, 12-time global champion to be exact. She was 4th in that very, very fast final last night, running 21.94 seconds. But disappointing news for Shawnee. She said she felt a hamstring coming off the curve. She didn't want to take any chances because she still had 2 rounds of the 400 meters to go. And she ended up crossing the finish line at 24 seconds flat. And she was 8th in that final last night. When she came to the mix zone, I asked her if running the 400 meter heats early in the day or running both events here at these Olympics really kind of had a toll on her. And she said she actually felt fine going into the race last night. She felt a little bit of pain after the heats of the women's 400 meters early on Tuesday. But going into the race last night, she felt fine. But just started to feel a hamstring a little bit coming off the curve and didn't want to take any chances last night. But as mentioned, she still has the semifinals of the women's 400 meters today. She will run out of lane 6 in heat number 2. And that's going to come your way at 7:38 p.m. Wednesday night here in Tokyo, which is going to be early Wednesday morning in the Bahamas. So you're going to have to get up early and watch that one, folks. It's coming away at 6:38 a.m. Wednesday morning in the Bahamas. Shawnee Miller should be running in the semifinals of the women's 400 meters. Then coming up on Thursday, we're going to have the first round heats of the women's 4x400 meters. I'm not sure if Shawnee's going to run in that one, but that's going to feature Donisha Anderson, Megan Moss, Anthony Strachan, Brian Bethel, Shawnee Miller. That's the runners in the relay pool for the Bahamas. The heat's going to come your way at 7:25 p.m. on Thursday, which is going to be 6:25 a.m. Thursday morning. And also on Thursday, the big one, Stephen Gardner, he's going to run in the final of the men's 400 meters. He's going to run out of lane 7. That's going to come your way at 9 p.m. Thursday night in Tokyo, which is going to be 8 a.m. Thursday morning in the Bahamas. And then on Friday, Shawnee Miller, if she advances past the semifinals of the women's 400 meters, she will run in the final of the women's 400 meters on Friday. That's going to come your way at 9:35 p.m. on Friday night, which is going to be 8:35 a.m. Friday morning in the Bahamas. Then after that, just one final event for the Bahamas. If the women's 4x4 team advances past the heats, they'll run in the final on Saturday, which will be 9:30 p.m. on Saturday night, 8:30 a.m. Saturday morning in the Bahamas. So once again, Shawnee Miller feeling a hamstring last night. Didn't want to take any chances. She had, of course, in the finish line in 24 seconds flat. And she finished 8th in that very, very fast final last night. This is Sheldon Only reporting from the site of the 32nd Olympic Games here in Tokyo, Japan.
And we'll be hearing from Sheldon, as usual, throughout the remainder of the games. And just an update, Shawnee did run that 400 meter semifinal, and she won that semifinal in a time of 49.60 seconds. So she'll move on there. All right. In other sports news, the NCAA has fallen short of upholding its commitment to gender equity by prioritizing its cash cow Division I men's basketball tournament over everything else, according to a scathing review released Tuesday after an uproar over how the association conducts its championship events. A law firm hired by the NCAA to investigate equity issues, releasing a 113-page report that includes a series of recommendations, including holding the men's and women's Final Fours at the same site and offering financial incentives to schools to improve their women's basketball programs. But it ripped the NCAA for falling into an entrenched approach to the women's game, preventing its growth and leading to an embarrassing lack of equality with the men. The review done by Kaplan, Hecker, and Fink, LLP, hired in March after the NCAA failed to provide similar amenities to the teams in the men's and women's Division I basketball tournaments. The situation blew up on social media amid player complaints and prompted apologies from NCAA executives, including President Mark Emmert. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got a mid to upper level trough continuing to stream tropical moisture with, combining at least, and will continue to support pockets of unsettled weather across portions of the country today. Boaters and residents should be alert for possible waterspout or tornado activity, and beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents at east and south coast beaches. And there remains a risk for localized flooding in flood-prone and low-lying areas during prolonged and/or heavy rainfall events today. We're expecting another hot day, residents being urged to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities due to high heat indices, once again in the triple digits. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, look for partly to mostly cloudy and hot conditions with a few scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas through tonight. Smallcraft operators should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Wind southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. For the central and southeast Bahamas, variable cloudiness, breezy and hot, widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Some showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Smallcraft caution remains in effect. Wind east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 7 feet. We're looking at high temperatures getting up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index will be at 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
It's time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news, Smart Talk all day, Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Cash is what we have been using for generations, but it's no longer the only way to pay or receive money. That is great news for business owners. I'm Lasanya Mizik, Managing Director at RBC Royal Bank, encouraging you to find out how going cashless can benefit your business with faster transactions and settlements, better cash flow management, plus reduce risk of theft. Learn more at rbc.com/Caribbean/go cashless. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With stores in Palmdale, West Bay, and Old Fort Bay, and free delivery to businesses, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Are you ready for effortless hurricane protection? Then you need to get to know LA Impact Windows and Doors. Forget the plywood and get the lowest and affordable prices on hurricane windows and doors for all your residential and commercial projects. You can feel safe and secure with LA Impact Windows and Doors. Located in the Southland Shopping Center, East Street South. LA Impact Windows and Doors. Impacting your views. Call 322-3667 or 829-7822.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can communicate with us. We're going to give you the phone numbers to give you to call in. You can also tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. You can text us on the Guardian Radio text line, 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yep. Watching a little bit of Olympics here. I think I should turn this off and focus on the show. But, okay. But if you are just tuning in, so Shanae Miller-Weibo ran in the semifinals of the 400 meters and easily won her semifinal number 2, at a time of 49.60. And so she's going to advance to the final, as we all knew she would. Yeah. But we are expecting greatness again from her.
After yesterday, people are saying they all hoped she would. Just make sure that nothing else was wrong.
Because that was, you pull up feeling something in your hammer string. That's pretty scary. Yeah. But yeah, so she's looking good. Did that pretty well. And Friday.
Yeah, big
Friday
race.
morning. Yeah, okay. Wow, this is our roller coaster. This is rough.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. All right, so and then we've got Stephen Gardner coming up too, so a lot to look forward to.
He's looking good.
Yeah. So, hey, okay, so a lot to get to, and coming up this morning, we're going to take a little detour away from the big news, although this is important as well, the importance of breastfeeding, and we're going to get into that in our 8 o'clock hour. And later, a Morning Blend business. We are talking about the future of the energy sector here, what we need to supply all the demand that we have right now and into the future. Are we heading on the right course? Debbie Deal is going to be with us and talking about that this morning from the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce. All right, so a lot to get to this morning, but let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, A.D. Hanna, the former Deputy Prime Minister and former Governor General, has passed away at the age of 93. Arthur Dion Hanna, who was instrumental in the attainment of majority rule and independence, died at home yesterday, we're told. As you know, he served as a member of Parliament for 32 years, having first been elected in 1960 in the Annestown constituency and re-elected in 62, 67, 68, 72, 82, and 87. Yeah. Lots of statements have come out since we learned of this late yesterday. The Office of the Prime Minister issuing a statement, as well as the Leader of the Opposition and former Prime Minister Perry Christie. Will read these for you. This is the Office of the Prime Minister's statement. It reads, "A Bahamian giant and statesman has passed away. It is with deep regret and profound sadness the country has learned of the passing of former Governor General, the Honorable Arthur Dion Hanna, the 7th Bahamian Governor General of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, who served in that capacity from 2006 to 2012. The Honorable A.D. Hanna was a fierce patriot. He loved his Bahamas with unrelenting devotion, courage, and passion. He gave his life to the Bahamian people in the struggle for majority rule and independence. He helped to form the first majority rule government in 1967. Arthur Dion Hanna is a founding father of the modern Bahamas who fought for equality and social justice throughout his long life. Many of our national institutions and progressive national policies bear the hallmarks of his advocacy for Bahamianization. Mr. Hanna served in the cabinet of the Bahamas for decades, including in the finance, education, home affairs, and trade and industry portfolios. He was Deputy Prime Minister for many years during successive administrations for Sir Lyndon Pindling. A proud son of Pompey Bay Acklands, Mr. Hanna was born on the 7th of March, 1928. An attorney by profession, he joined the Progressive Liberal Party after returning home from his law studies in the United Kingdom. He served as the PLP's deputy leader for many years and was a faithful member of his party. Mr. Hanna was a constitutional father. He served as a member of Parliament for 32 years. He was government leader in the House of Assembly from 1967 to 1984, and a member of the House from 1960 to 1992, where he served his beloved Annestown constituency. He was predeceased by his wife, Beryl Hanna, who was similarly committed to the national development of the Bahamas. His legacy of service was passed on to his children, including surviving children Dion, Glennis, and Dawn. Known affectionately as A.D. by generations of Bahamians, Mr. Hanna was a man of tremendous humility who loved boating, fishing, and farming. He goes on to say, quote, "I remember him constantly fighting for opportunities for all Bahamians in every sector of society. This fight for opportunity continues. We are grateful for his service and for his enduring example. On behalf of the Bahamian nation, people, and government, and on my own behalf and that of my wife Patricia, I extend heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and colleagues in the passing of one of the political giants of the modern Bahamas, who will ever be recalled in the annals of Bahamian history." And as you said, there's more. I'm going to read just parts of what else we have here. From the PLP, we have a statement from the Leader of the Opposition, Philip Davis. His statement reads, "The lion of the Progressive Liberal Party has left us. I am deeply moved on this occasion, saddened yet empowered because I know of the legacy which he left us. He dedicated his life to the Bahamas. The political instrument was the Progressive Liberal Party. We will miss you, Arthur D. Hanna." Mr. Hanna is credited with initiating Bahamianization as a national policy. He believed that the Bahamas was for Bahamians, and he never wavered in his decisions as the Minister of Home Affairs. He laid the foundation together with his colleagues of the comprehensive system of education which we enjoy today. When he was Minister of Education, he set the initial rules to help the poor as Minister of Finance through the social safety net, which is now incorporated in our Social Services Department. That was Arthur Hanna, dedicated to wiping every tear from every eye, building our country with our own hands. He was the quintessential patriot. he said we must be an independent nation, and drove his party in that direction, never flinching that this was the way to go. He was a mentor to former Prime Minister Perry Christie and Hubert Ingraham when, as young ministers, they joined the cabinet. When others walked away from me at a challenging time in my political life, Arthur Hanna was my protector. For all these reasons, we owe Arthur D. Hanna a debt of gratitude. We say, rest in peace from your labors. You've done a yeoman's work. Go to God. And just a bit from former Prime Minister Perry Christie, who said, I am profoundly saddened by the death of the Honorable Arthur Dion Hanna, former Governor General of the Bahamas, former Deputy Prime Minister. Patriot supreme, nation builder of the highest order, a man who was also my deeply valued friend and close political comrade of more than 50 years. Arthur Hanna was the very last survivor of the original majority rule cabinet. With his death, there are now no more. He really was the last of the lions. Let me state without hesitation that this is the greatest loss we have suffered as a nation since the death of the father of our nation, Sir Lyndon Pinling, 22 years ago. With Arthur Hanna's passing, we have truly come to the end of an era, arguably the most consequential era in the history of our country, an era that ushered in majority rule, independence, and national development on an unprecedented scale, and which he played a major and defining role. Arthur Hanna's record of accomplishment is legendary. Many firsts are justly to be credited to him, but the three of which he was proudest were these. Firstly, he was absolutely insistent that we had to become independent as quickly as possible once majority rule had been achieved in 1967. He therefore pushed his colleagues and the country to expedite the realization of this objective. Within 5 short years, it had indeed become a reality. It could not have happened without his tireless urgings and uncompromising advocacy. Secondly, Arthur Hanna was the single most influential figure in the conceptualization, articulation, and execution of the policy of Bahamianization, with which his name became synonymous. He was a nationalist of unsurpassed conviction and integrity. For him, there was never any compromising of his principles or political ideology. He was a purist. He was unalterably convinced that the Bahamas was for Bahamians and that together we had to build a new nation with our own hands, to use the phrase that he himself often used. This he saw as the fundamental imperative facing us as we emerged from colonialism, and its attendant psychological bondage into a new age of national sovereignty, with the full flowering of freedom and responsibility for the management of our own destiny. That, for A.D. Hanna, was what Bahamianization was all about. And thirdly, Arthur Hanna was always on the side of the poor and dispossessed of our land. They never had a more resolutely committed warrior for economic and social justice than Arthur Hanna. It was not surprising, therefore, that he would be the architect of many of the major social initiatives that were central to the governance of the Bahamas during his 17 years in cabinet and more than 3 decades in Parliament. His aim was to alleviate human suffering, or, as he so poignantly and poetically put it, to wipe every tear from every eye. A.D. Hanna really was the embodiment of the best we can be when it comes to being a servant of the people and of the nation he was so influential in creating, in which he served with such awe-inspiring love, dedication, personal integrity, and idealism for so long. And that is from just a part of what Perry Christie, former Prime Minister, said about him as well.
Oh, strong.
Yeah. Perry Christie has a way with the words there. Yeah. As we know, as we have always known.
Lived a good long life, huh?
I really hope he's writing a book. I really do. All right, folks, let's hear what you have to say. Your memories of A.D. Hanna and your wishes for the family. And again, condolences to everybody. We know the Hannas so well.
Yeah.
And
good friends and family.
Yes, absolutely. So condolences to all of them. Our prayers are with you. And give us a call, 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. We're losing them, and I don't know if we've documented it enough, right? You really have to go deep into the archives or to stumble upon some old newspapers to really see what was going on, unfortunately. But we've missed a lot of opportunities to tell these stories and to hear from them. It's unfortunate. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Golly days is Strachan was along with you in Chester, Don.
Hi.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, good morning.
Dwight in Chester, yes. Good morning.
Dwight, pardon me.
No problem.
Hey, Dwight, I want to give my condolences, of course, I don't know, Hannah and my family. So I want to give my condolences to all of the family. And they continue keeping their head held high. And Glennis, you continue doing well. Mm-hmm. She's falling right in his footstep. I appreciate it very much.
Yes.
Thank you so kindly. And that's coming from Bremen, darling, Ferguson. Thank you.
Yes.
Don. Oh, Lord, Dwight.
You've got Don in the brain. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yes. Thank you, Bremen. Okay. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Let's read some of your messages. Okay. I don't know what that one's about. This one says here, rest in peace to A.D. Hannah. However, they better not have a big funeral for him. Oh my goodness gracious.
I was waiting for that.
Oh my
Weren't
goodness. I really didn't think. I didn't. I already feel the head. I didn't think that was coming so soon. I mean, really? Maybe tomorrow. Oh, okay.
My people.
Oh dear, what's this one? Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning, Dwight. How are you, man?
Doing well. Good morning.
Boy, wow, listen, that's a major loss for the country, man. My sincere condolence to Glennis Hannah and family. A.D. Hannah, I was a little boy in the 70s when A.D. Hannah represented the Camp Road and Strachan Valley, all of those areas down in there. And I was a little boy, man, and I remember when A.D. Hannah used to come through. He used to come through with, 3 or 4 people with him, and it was like a king had just arrived. Everybody run out of their house, and they come to greet him, and he always came with something in his hand. He was always giving the kids, something, some kind of treat or something that he had to give the kids or, to bless the parents of the homes and stuff. And A.D. Hannah he is what representation was all about, man. He always cared about people and everything. But whenever he came around, it was like royalty had just arrived, and the people loved him so much they just used to run out of their house. Everybody used to come out of their house to greet A.D. Hannah, So that is a major loss for the country, So my sincere condolence to Glennis and her family, Wow, that's a great loss, and I don't think we will ever in this country see that kind of representation again. So, that is a major loss. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Here's a text message. Oh boy, Dwight, we need to stop the narrative that certain men are our founding fathers. These men did not lay the foundations of this nation. Also, they benefited more from their service than we, the people, did. Oh, my good Lord. What does it benefit us to give credit and acknowledgement where it isn't truly deserved? Look at the country today, Dwight. We can blame those founding fathers for this mess. What vision did they put in place? To this day, we can't feed ourselves well. You could look at it that way, or you could say, well, they started it. They handed the baton to some others.
There was a point where we were doing very well for ourselves, right?
The country was developing rapidly in the 70s.
Yeah.
And things were looking quite promising, not just to us, but to other people in the world. Other people saw it and said, well, this is great. But some people lost their way along the way. As I said, just like we were talking about the Olympics and relays, you hand the baton over, and there's a fumble.
Some fumble,
or someone took the baton off the track. So, right? So, I mean,
the golden baton. Yeah, I think those comments were misplaced.
Yeah, and especially today.
Yeah.
But there's only so much they can do. Then it's up to the rest of us to keep chugging up the mountain, right?
I mean, those guys put a lot on the line at a young age to go and do something as big as they did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, maybe, I don't know, I'd love to know how old you are, Texter. But if you hear older people talk about what this place was like in the 50s and 60s, I mean, some do romanticize to make it sound like it was perfect. But compared to where we are today, this was a very challenged was it? Yeah, a colony. Yeah, it was a very challenged place. And things started to turn around by the 50s and 60s. But for some, but for many, no. Especially when you look at the education system here, what you were allowed to do and where you could go and the few opportunities there were. Right, things really did change a lot in the 60s, especially with the ushering in of majority rule. Yeah. So this was the start, and by the end of the 70s, the possibilities were endless. Now, what happened in the 80s?
I mean, that was a changing time for the entire world.
It was.
A pivotal time for a lot of different things.
Yes, and socially as well. And there were, right, people, mindset, there was still that activism in the 70s, still somewhat. But by the 80s, everybody had become so selfish, and it was all about what I could get.
Drugs.
Right?
And everything.
It started in the 70s with the me generation, but it really took over in the 80s. People were just, I need the biggest car or the best this and that and all the fancy clothes and all the stuff.
It took to get it.
Right. And so things changed there, unfortunately. But again, that's all of us. It's not just, we keep looking to leaders to save us, and that's part of the problem. And that text is showing us that, what about us? What are we going to do to save ourselves? They've given us a foundation, foundation. You got to build on it. You just can't they didn't put us there. Well, they can't. They started something for you to build on.
Yeah.
And this is why we're stuck, because we're expecting somebody to lead us to the top of the mountain. But you've got legs. You've got to go up there yourself, or wheels, or whatever it is that you have.
Yeah. What do they think? We have no foundation?
Oh, my. Let's take a couple more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. All right. Let's take this one. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Morning.
I'd just like to say, firstly, from my family to the Hanna family, who just so happen to be descendants of the same island that my family is descended, I'd like to offer sincere condolences to his family on behalf of my family. I'd just like to say very quickly here, Dwight, and keep my commentary very short. I am very disheartened by it could have been the last text. Yeah, the last text that you read about, I guess, idolizing someone in the person of A.D. Hanna in this particular instant. Noting full well that if you were brought up in the 60s and 70s and saw the contribution that the founding fathers, and we must give credit and kudos to these guys, regardless of political affiliation. These guys actually created, or the men and women actually created, what the modern Bahamas is today. It is unfortunate that the blueprint that they have put in place that had began the process of progressing the Bahamas towards prosperity, ownership, respect, and dignity have not been followed through after they would have left, or just slightly prior to when they left the platform. And I believe that it's very disingenuous for anyone to come on the airwaves and try to, put a spin on as if the gentleman in this case, Eddie Hanna, is not deserving of the credit that he so rightfully earned. And I believe that this is why it's so important for us to know our history, which I don't think is being taught sufficiently in our schools, perhaps in our homes, but we need to do a much better job in our schools to tell the story of all of the men and women that have created this Bahamas and put us on the path that we are on today and discover where the baton was dropped in order for us to give the proper credit to people. And I just wanted to add that contribution this morning, Dwight.
Okay.
Continue the great work again. My condolences on behalf of the Delaveau clan from Ackland's Crooked Island to the Hanna family. God bless you all.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. A few more messages before we take a break. Okay. Two things I admired most about A.D. Hanna was his belief in Bahamianization and the belief that Bahamian workers must be treated fairly in our country. There are no MPs like him. These new set don't care for us like the old ones did. Oh, boy. Okay. My condolences to the Hanna family. Yep. Yes. Okay. And this one here, the country was developing well in the 70s and 80s because of the drug trade. Many homes and lifestyles were built because of it. Well, many, not all.
Yeah? Okay.
Many, not all. Many, not all. Okay, this one says here, that text leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Someone lost their loved one, and that's all you can say. That's heartless, but sincere condolences goes out to his family and friends and the country. May you rest in peace and perpetual light shine upon him. Yes, indeed. Yeah. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, more of what's making news on this Wednesday morning. And again, our condolences to A.D. Hanna's family and to everybody and to the whole country. Yeah. Again, may his soul rest in peace. We'll be back. Stay with us.
And Black Dick too. Oh, I'll chat with the Milo Butler and the great C.R. Walker, Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield. I'll say, how do you do, yeah. I'll find Dame Doris Johnson and Sir Randall Fox, L.W. Young and C.C. Sweeting too. Oh, Mr. Timothy Gibson and Clarence Bain, Sir Henry Taylor, Sir Kendall Isaacs too. I'll find Sir Roland Simonet, the first Bahamian premier.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic this morning, but not looking so bad out there this morning at this point. That's Mile Butler Highway northbound, just north of Harold Pond. You'll see that building traffic in the northbound lanes heading to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Gladstone Road also looking pretty good, except as you get closer to JFK Drive in the northbound lane at this point. Just a reminder about the work going on at the exit of Prince Charles Drive to St. Michael Road. That's closed there, actually. So you'll have to go to Soldier Road if you need to head in that direction. That's what we're dealing with so far. We'll have another report for you just after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined. And time for another check of your weather for today. We've got a mid to upper level troughing that's coupled with streaming tropical moisture that's going to continue to support pockets of unsettled weather across portions of the northwest, portions of the whole country today, actually. For the northwest Bahamas, your forecast calls for partly to mostly cloudy and hot conditions with a few scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas through tonight. For the central and southeast Bahamas, variably cloudy, breezy, and hot with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Some showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Small craft caution in effect in the southeast and central Bahamas. We've got some warnings. Boaters and residents should be alert for waterspout or tornado activity. And there could be flooding in low-lying or flood-prone areas during heavy or prolonged rainfall events. And everybody's being advised to limit outdoor activities and remain hydrated due to high heat indices today. With that, temperature-wise, we're looking at highs getting up to 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index in the triple digits, as we said, 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, troughing will maintain elevated rain chances across the area through Thursday. Meanwhile, a high-pressure ridge will rebuild just north of the area and support a drier weather pattern across the islands for the weekend. So for tomorrow, Thursday, look for partly sunny and hot conditions with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. Expect breezy conditions in the central and southeast Bahamas. Friday, partly to mostly sunny, hot with a few showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Expect breezy conditions in the central and southeast Bahamas. In the tropics, we're watching a small area of low pressure with some associated showers and thunderstorms passing just to the east of the Cabo Verde Islands. The system has a low chance of about 10% chance of cyclone formation through the next 5 days. Elsewhere, there's a tropical wave expected to move off the west coast of Africa by late Thursday. The system has a low chance, about 20% chance of formation through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
It's so summer with Esso, and that's why we're giving away thousands of dollars in fuel, food, and other fun prizes every week. Simply fuel up at $25 or more. Enter using your receipt, and you could be a winner this summer with Esso. Terms and conditions apply. Visit bettergasmileage.com/its-so-summer or our Facebook page for details. Promotion ends August 29th, 2021. It's fun! Food, fuel, and other great prizes every week. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
Shop early for Janae's Mix and Match specials. Get all your school uniforms, neckties, socks, shorts, character towels, raincoats, umbrellas, colorful backpacks, underclothes, and tights. Mix and match 4 school shirts, pre-monogrammed or regular, and get 1 free. Yes, free. Mix and match 2 skirts, jumpers, or pants, and get the third one 50% off. Janae's COVID-19 customer recovery assistance. Relaxed restrictions, allowing mix and match. WhatsApp 817-3295 or go online at www.janaes.com.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
So I'm flying back to the island, so let's go. When you're heading big, that drum and calypso. Na. There's a party going on. You can do till the break of dawn. Sweet music, man, it makes everyone lose control. Everybody, here we go. It's better in the bomb.
back. Here's Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning. We've got some more calls coming in. Let's take these, and then we want to move on to COVID. Yes, COVID. Good morning, caller on the air. Are you there? Yeah, let's take that one. Good morning, caller, you're on the air.
Good morning, Blend.
Hi.
I should like to positively reflect on some experience that I had with Sir Arthur.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay, this was a great one, and I think that would made him such a great politician.
Well, especially not the Sir part there. But yeah, okay, go on. Because he definitely did not want that.
Oh boy. Well, I didn't know all of that, but I do know that there was a time when I was walking in Kemp Road, and he was all about in Kemp Road, and he was smoking a cigarette and had his fingers out the window. And I approached the car and I said to him, it's not good to be smoking these cigarettes. And you know what he did? Whether it was just a political move or not, he took that cigarette and he got rid of it.
Wow.
Now, that impressed me. Whether he did it just because, hey, you know what? This is the right thing to do. And he did a good job with that. But what I really would like to say is I really wish we used to teach in schools, which you're not going to find in this British system, how our souls transmigrate to this solar system. And how the process of decreation, which is opposite to creation, actually happens. Because most of us end up dying alone. As this COVID really is bringing this home. And that is so painful to see someone looking at the unknown to that final moment. That's a very painful experience for me because I've seen it often enough.
My goodness.
Thank you so much.
Well, I have a question. So you say you think that's not going to be taught because of the British system? That's why that won't be taught?
I think we finished with the British system. If you're continuously getting D averages, something is wrong.
Well, it's not really if depending on the scale. But okay.
Well, no, but what I'm simply saying is, in India, they got rid of it. Most countries who were once colonies, they developed their own way of teaching, their own culture to their people. And I think that British system, that's not for us. We could do better. That's all. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Well, hey. We're going to leave that there. You can continue to message us, though, with your messages about A.D. Hannah and the family. All right. So, yesterday, the third tranche of COVAX vaccines arrived in the country. And, they had a ceremony at the airport. It just so strange. They did that again, yes. And
do they have a ceremony for the freezers too?
I don't think so.
That's cold. I had to drop. I'm sorry.
Oh dear.
I apologize.
Oh my good Lord. Yeah, you really.
It was just sitting there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So 33,600 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine arrived, and they were at the airport. The Prime Minister spoke about it, said some interesting things. Take a listen to this report by our Jasmine Brown.
Awaiting delivery of COVID-19 vaccines arriving in country around mid-morning.
We will launch one of the largest and greatest vaccination programs within our community ever seen to vaccinate as many people as possible. And I've had discussion with my cabinet and gotten agreement from my cabinet colleagues that I, as a medical doctor, will volunteer my services with the other medical colleagues to assist in the vaccination of the Bahamian populace throughout our country.
Minutes announced that vaccinations will resume on Thursday on New Providence at Loyola Hall for first and second doses and at 3 additional sites next week.
On Monday, the 9th of August, the Church of God of Prophecy on East Street site will likewise be opened. And this will be followed by the Bahama Convention Center on Tuesday, the 10th of August, followed by the St. Anselm Church Hall on Wednesday, the 11th of August. By next week, Wednesday, all of these sites, for a total of 4 vaccination centers, will be operating on New Providence to administer first and second doses of the vaccine.
Today's delivery represents the third tranche of prepaid doses the country has received through the COVAX facility. Minnis said the government will send 5,000 doses to Antigua and Barbuda, which gave the Bahamas 5,000 doses in June in an exchange program. In the last several weeks, frustration grew as the Bahamas vaccine supply dried up. Ministers encouraged Bahamians to book their appointments immediately. As it relates to vaccinations on the Family Islands, which have come to a standstill,
Health officials and volunteers are currently working on a schedule to continue vaccinations on the Family Islands. And more information will be announced on this phase of the rollout.
Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Okay. Hey, so the vaccines are here. Well, we've got really 28,600 since we have to give 5,000 back. Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah. So now what? That was a lot of people were complaining about the fact that there weren't vaccines. Now that they are here, will this change? Will this change things?
Well, hearing through the grapevine that a lot of people have been registering to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I did hear quite a few people told me that yesterday. Yeah,
and you still need to.
I have to get my
finish
second
off,
dose, right? Yeah,
which a lot of other people probably
I still have a few weeks before
need
it's
to do.
time. But yeah, but they're telling me, and everyone's talking now about how some reports. I did see that now. The time in between. Remember, they were saying the longer you waited, the better. But now it's come back shorter. So they're saying instead of what there had been talk about as up to 12 weeks,
right?
But now they're saying 8 is better, close or even under.
Right.
So I still have a couple weeks, but yeah. So maybe mid-August for me. Yeah. Okay. So, what now, folks? 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. We've been getting quite a few messages about COVID so far already, because that's what people want to really get into. Here's this one. This might not mean anything to you, but I notice you always greet your guests with pleasantries, ask them about how they're doing, but they never ask how you're doing. Oh, well, they don't really care about me. That's fine. Right, Chester?
Wow.
That's a good observation. That's not true. I'm great friends with all of them. We talk all the time.
I know how he's doing.
Not just on the day of the show. So they know how I'm doing. They wish they didn't know how well I was doing. All
That's
of them.
true.
Right? So I'm always talking to Pam and Laverne and Chester and Steven and Dawn. So we talk every day. Anyway, they go on to say, another thing, I saw someone on social media saying that Guardian must be forcing y'all to push the vaccine. What utter nonsense. Oh, yes, I'm glad you realize that. That is utter nonsense. Someone's forwarded me a screenshot of that as well, that we're being forced by someone's behind me right now with a whip. You better tell people to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's what it is.
Okay. And they said, another one said that another batch of, oh boy, I'm not going to read that part. But they go on to say, I'm very sorry for these people in this country, very scary. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, people are afraid. People are afraid, and they have good reasons.
Good
reasons to be
especially
afraid,
recently.
Right?
Lots of people in the hospital.
Well, but despite that, and despite people getting COVID and not having, even though they've recovered, but having a rough time of it, they're still saying they're not going to take the vaccine. There are a lot of people still saying that. And
Well, then they ain't scared enough.
Well, they're more scared of the vaccine than they are of the virus, which I don't know if that's a wise
Hey,
thing.
if you healthy and wealthy and living it up, then fine, maybe. But if you got comorbidities and you really can't afford health care.
Yeah. And that's the scary thing. A lot of people who talk like that haven't been to see the doctor in years.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know what you have or what you don't have.
And how this thing will affect you.
Right. But, yeah. All right, let's get to some more messages here. But no one is telling Guardian Radio hosts what to say. Just not to, the only thing we tell them not to say is please ease up with the brand names of products and companies when you give your examples, right? Right? That's important.
You're talking about vaccines, are you?
No. We don't tell them not to say anything about anything. Like, you got to talk good about that party. No. Nope. This is not a leaning station in any one direction, unlike what they have at talk radio in other parts of the world, right?
Mhm.
Where everybody is pro this or pro that or anti this or this is a how do I put that? Anyway, I was going to say free for all. That's not it. But we don't direct.
Sometimes it goes in that direction.
Sometimes
You
the
have to
hosts
redirect
say
it.
the same things, right? Because they see that this is the only way you could look at something, right? And we don't try to find hosts that all think alike, but sometimes that just happens. It's not because anyone's forcing anybody to think a certain way. Right. So, but when you hear that, there's always going to be one or two hosts on the station that don't fall along those lines. So that's not what happens here. But maybe you listen to some other stations where they all say the same things over and over. So maybe you got confused. Okay.
And we sometimes change our minds about things as well.
That does happen.
You know, that's allowed. Even though
That
people
does
like
happen.
to rip into you for
Right.
it.
Right. You come into some information, then you realize, oh,
maybe I was wrong.
I was very wrong on that one, and now I have to tell you all about this.
Right.
So, and that's what the call is all about. You get different viewpoints. People disagree with you, and we allow them in. Right.
Absolutely.
The people who are not allowed to call in, it's a tiny list, and mainly because of legal reasons, they're going to get us sued. Right. We've received threats because of what those callers have said, and so we can't allow them to continue to call in.
Right.
So it's nothing personal. It's just that we've warned you before, and right. But we appreciate the different viewpoints of our callers and our texters. Some of you we wish you would call in, so we don't have to read the hateful things you say, and make us sound like we're crazy.
No, people are going to recognize their voice.
Oh, oh my!
They want to keep those in there.
But you'd prefer for me to read your hate. Okay.
Want to remain anonymous.
What? This one says here, I was not born when A.D. Hanna was in his political era, but listening to the show this morning, I can only feel a sense of gratitude. Just listening to the amount of times he was reelected tells me that he was a man of movement and change. I would like to thank Mr. Hanna for all of the work in the progression of the Bahamas. He did what he had to do. He started the work, and now it's up to us to complete it. We must take that responsibility. Thank you again, sir. May your soul rest in eternal peace.
I was born in one of his re-election years.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was a great text. Great text.
Yeah.
Okay. No disrespect to the UBP, but the UBP provided the foundation of the Bahamas. You guys always try to diminish their contributions. Tourism was founded by the UBP, which gave the Bahamas its foundation. Oh, well, I don't know who the you guys
Tourism
is.
was founded by the pirates.
You guys. You know who the you guys were. As we said the 60s. We said the 60s is when this development came. All of them are founding fathers. All of them are, right? But okay.
They founded some other things.
Yay to the UBP? Okay. Hey, man.
They had different foundings.
There was a lot wrong during that time as well, though. And you can't deny that, right? And I have some older friends who told me about things that were going on in this country that younger people don't know, right? And older people can tell you where you weren't allowed to go in
know
down.
that.
Right? I don't know if people
They know that.
I don't know. Some people really do act like they don't know where certain people weren't allowed to go, certain buildings you weren't allowed to go in, certain entrances there were for people.
That's how the whole
so
quote unquote new world was around that time. Jeez.
So there were some serious issues, and that wasn't right. I'm sure you can admit that, right? So,
He was the founders of racism.
What? Okay, this one comes in here. This is the person who was texting earlier. I said, I want you to tell me what age you are. They said, I was born in 1973. Okay. My text spoke to the truths. Both of y'all know it. How many times was he reelected? What do you reelect them for? What do we elect them for? Educate me. Like I said, it's the foundation. It's a foundation. You got to build on it. We got to build on it, and there are limitations then as well. I'm not making any excuses, but we run with the man. You know, run with it now. Let's go. Let's make it even better now, right?
We didn't say some of the founding fathers were perfect.
Yeah. All right, we've got a break for news. When we come back, more on this and a lot more to get to on this Wednesday morning. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
So I'm flying back to the island, so let's go.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:26, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got mid to upper level troughing coupled with streaming tropical moisture that will continue to support pockets of unsettled weather across portions of the country today. Boaters and residents should be alert for possible waterspout or tornado activity, while beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents at east and south coast beaches. There's also the risk of localized flooding in flood-prone areas and low-lying areas during rainfall events. And everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activity due to heat indices once again expected to be in the triple digits. So another hot day in store. For today, the forecast calls for partly to mostly cloudy and hot conditions in the northwest Bahamas with a few scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas through tonight. For the central and southeastern islands, variably cloudy, breezy, and hot with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Some showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Small craft caution in effect for the southeast Bahamas. Temperature-wise today, look at highs getting up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index, 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, troughing will maintain elevated rain chances across the area through Thursday. Meanwhile, a high-pressure ridge will rebuild just north of the area and support a drier weather pattern across the islands into the weekend. So for tomorrow, Thursday, look for partly sunny and hot conditions with a few showers and isolated thunderstorms. Breezy in the central and southeast Bahamas. Friday, partly mostly sunny and hot again, with a few showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Expect breezy conditions in the central and southeast Bahamas. In the tropics, we're watching a small area of low pressure with some associated showers and thunderstorms passing just to the east of the Cabo Verde Islands. And the system has a low chance at the moment, about a 10% chance for tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. There's also a tropical wave expected to move off the west coast of Africa by late Thursday. That system also has a low chance, about 20% chance for formation through 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check. Brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And we've got another check of your traffic for this morning. Just a reminder about about St. Michael Road. That is closed. The exit off Prince Charles Drive to St. Michael is closed as they're doing some work in the area, so you'll have to use Soldier Road instead. In your real-time traffic, we've got Milo Butler Highway northbound, just some building traffic as you get closer to Tonic Williams Darling Highway in the northbound lanes. And Gladstone Road, same situation, northbound to JFK Drive. You'll see the traffic building there the closer you get to that roundabout. Elsewhere, just pockets at the major intersections, and Marathon Road looking busy this morning as well, mainly northbound, but elsewhere not looking so bad. That's your real-time traffic and your morning light traffic alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
So I'm flying back to the island, so let's go. When you hear them beating that drum and calypso, na na na, there's a party going on. Talk on no till the break of dawn. Sweet music, man, it makes everyone lose control.
And we're back with Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking about breastfeeding, what you need to know, what you need to keep in mind. That's just in a couple of minutes. We just want to continue with what's in the news, what we were talking about earlier with the Prime Minister at the ceremony with the arrival of the third tranche of COVAX vaccines. And we're asking whether you're ready. Folks who haven't been vaccinated or folks who need to get their second doses. What was that look for? Chester Robards, huh?
You almost had a faux pas there.
What did I almost say? Well, I don't recall.
Anyway, second dose.
Okay.
Yes.
So this text here, what's the plan after this batch is depleted? That's the text. The part too.
And we supposed to be getting more of some other kinds as well. They've been working on that for a long time.
Is it going to be like this? Stop, start, stop, start. You get it, and then you wait, get it, and then you have to wait some more. That's how it's going to be?
Most likely.
Okay. Well,
Don't forget, the whole world is vying for the same
yes.
vaccines.
Yep. Better get it now before they start talking about third doses.
Yep. Or another, or
right, boosters. They like to say that. Booster. This one says here, why is doctor and cabinet who are doctors getting involved in vaccinations at centers? He should stay away. I don't understand the text, but I think they're trying to say, because we were talking about this off here as well.
Why do they need to volunteer their services at vaccination centers?
Is that what he's saying? Is he going to be, what's he going to do?
I feel like that's what he said.
He's not going to be vaccinated.
He's going to stand up all day in a vaccination center and inject people?
What? Is that what he's saying? Would you want the Prime Minister to give you your COVID vaccine?
Be a nice story.
Nice story for who?
Somebody.
Not just this Prime Minister. Any Prime Minister. I don't think I'd want, right?
Well, every Prime Minister ain't a doctor.
Okay. Oh, so if the Prime Minister's a doctor, it makes a difference.
Maybe. Like, I wouldn't want Joe Biden giving me a vaccine.
What if he's a doctor of psychology or something?
No.
Okay.
No.
Ooh, I don't think that's necessary. I mean, yeah, we do. I heard him say that, if you're retired, come, we need your help and that kind of thing. Sure, but Prime Minister, that's okay. You don't need to do this. It's probably
we
best.
appreciate it.
Yeah. It's a great offer. Thank you, but that's all right. No. Why would I? What?
I'm sure he's got more important things to do.
I hope, but still, I don't think I'd want that. That'd be like, okay. This one here.
At least he could say now, don't say I didn't offer.
Yes. Very generous. Yeah, we really do need quite a few more than what we're getting. But we do hope, right? The freezers did come in. We saw that.
Yeah, we saw some.
And
like that,
right, and so that hopefully that means Pfizer is not far off for those who want to go in that direction.
Right.
And so that's going to be another option, and that's one that children, teens at least, can use.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, all right. This person, I am sad how weak we are that we can't negotiate the full 300,000 doses. It's not about weakness, folks. Next government should ensure that we can make our own vaccines. Oh, okay. I am all for vaccines as a former NASA engineer scientist. Chad Rutherford, they say their name is. Okay.
Okay.
Make our own vaccines.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But again, it's not about weakness. It's we mentioned it earlier. There are shortages all over. They can't make enough. Can't make enough of the stuff. It's billions of people on the planet. Billions.
Well, apparently, America made enough. People just didn't want that one.
And they go bad very easily as well. Let's take these calls quickly. Good morning, caller on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Chester.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, I'm sure enough people are selfish enough that they'll go and rush to take the vaccine this go around. But,
What's the word you used? Fearful?
Fearful, yeah. Fearful enough
okay.
that they'll go rush to get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
But we always talk about keeping politics out of these pandemic situations, right? So why is the Prime Minister playing theater? I can understand Dr. Sands, taking time out of his schedule when he was the Minister of Health to actually go do an open heart surgery. Cutting open someone's chest and working on their heart. Anyone can actually, the proper training can inject a vaccine into somebody. The Prime Minister doesn't need to do that. His job needs to be focusing on making sure we get the vaccines, that people who need it get it, making sure that the country is operating properly and we have the resources to ensure that the healthcare system doesn't collapse. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
All this is politics, and it has to be something related to the election coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I like to listen.
Okay.
I'm sure it was a simple obligatory gesture. The Prime Minister didn't have time to go stand up and inject people all day. I'm absolutely certain of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to you, Dwight, and your co-host, and the wider Bahamas. First, my condolences to the Hanna family concerning the passing of a giant, the lion of the Progressive Labour Party and the country. Just let me say that on that vein, as we talk about and celebrate the vaccines arriving, somehow we seem to be focused on one of the effects of the vaccine, of utilization of the vaccine from the COVID. But we somehow seem to ignore something. If you go back to your commentary concerning A.D. Hanna as the architect of the social safety net, and we seem to ignore that aspect of it. Let's face that he was also a champion of education. It's something we have not taken towards this COVID, educating individuals concerning its impact, its use of the mask and protocols and whatever else is about it. We have not done that. Now, when we go back to his architecture of the social safety net, we have somehow forgotten that COVID has brought about a housing crisis, a job crisis, a food crisis, all of the things that's associated with it. And we have yet to hear from the Minister of Social Services a proper implementation of a social safety net that is going to carry us through this post-COVID, if it ever becomes a post-COVID or during COVID, concerning how do we deal with these deficiencies in our economy. We all know that as much as 40 to 50% of the individuals would not be able to go back to the jobs as they know it. So what are we going to do about that? What are we going to do with housing? What are we going to do with food? What are we really going to do with health? Because the government itself has not brought us a strategy in spite of 18 months of preparation concerning how do we deal with the health crisis in our country. And so I think it's time for us to focus on more than just vaccines, but the entire picture. Again, my condolences to the family, and hopefully the immunization, as they proclaim under one of the previous administrations, is not dead. What it is now is COVID has given us an opportunity to rebirth it, because the new tools allows ownership that as never before. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Let's go to the break. As I read some of these messages, someone says here, is it vaccine hesitancy or typical bureaucracy with having to book and then travel to Gladstone Road? Why not walk up vaccine sites in the inner city? Well, there are going to be other sites, as we mentioned in that report there as well. East Street, at the Church of God of Prophecy will reopen, and others as well. So there will be at least 4 in New Providence. So that's coming as it was before. This one says here, the Prime Minister knows he's going to lose and is looking for another job as a doctor again. So he's trying to practice.
Another job as a doctor.
So he's trying to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
Okay. And this final one here. What does the Prime Minister believe? What does Chester believe the Prime Minister does all day? He has time for anything. He isn't pinned to a desk trying to solve our problems. He only has to follow a script. A lot of negativity today.
Wow.
A lot of negativity today.
Jeez.
Oh boy! All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to change gears. We're going to be talking about health. It's health related, but breastfeeding, the importance of it. That's when we get back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio. Stay with us.
Them start to wind it down, no man one live. 73 the year of our birth. This place is heaven on earth. The best sun, sun, and sea in the West Indies. Yeah, everybody we go. It's better in abroad. Everybody we go. Yeah, we got it going on. Everybody we go.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carved body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Shop early for Janae's Mix and Match specials. Get all your school uniforms, neckties, socks, shorts, character towels, raincoats, umbrellas, colorful backpacks, underclothes, and tights. Mix and match 4 school shirts, pre-monogrammed or regular, and get one free. Yes, free. Mix and match 2 skirts, jumpers, or pants, and get the third one 50% off. Janae's COVID-19 customer recovery assistance. Relaxed restrictions, allowing mix and match. WhatsApp 817-3295 or go online at www.janaes.com.
Switching your mortgage to CIBC First Caribbean is easy, affordable, and convenient. We'll help with your switching cost, give you 3 months payment free, and waive your commitment fees so you can enjoy the break you need. Plus, you'll get up to 95% financing and a pre-approved Visa Gold or Platinum credit card with 5,000 bonus reward points and more. Switch your home base to CIBC First Caribbean. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's
Wait, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, wait, just a hard day, wait.
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritty.
We need to start joking about everything, you know. This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Wait, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me to meet this boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and drunk, you know.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white there, you know.
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crack Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you. And your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong Salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau, or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards, and it is National Breastfeeding Week this week. World, all over the world, World Breastfeeding Week. And this morning we are talking about breastfeeding and the importance of breastfeeding with the Bahamas National Breastfeeding Association. We have Vice President Linnell Thompson and former Vice President and board member and consultant Ampusam Simonet. Ladies, great to have you with us again. Welcome back to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
you.
It's good to be here.
Yes.
All right. So I know you all get very passionate about this, but breastfeeding, for those who don't understand, why is it so important?
Because, you have if you're going to build a house, the foundation needs to be solid. If you don't have a solid foundation, and when Hurricane Dorian come, ain't nothing happening. The house going down the road.
All right, so breastfeeding provides that foundation. What is the difference? Why aren't these what we buy in the store? Why isn't that good enough? I mean, there's a lot of technology goes into that, right? Lots of money goes into that. Why isn't it?
There's a joke some time ago, a cartoon. 2 cows were talking. They said, they take up our land, now they're taking up our milk as well. Which means that they are trying to make joke that human milk is for human babies.
Right.
So why are we introducing a foreign milk into the baby? And the fact is the bonding that it provides for our babies, that breastfed baby is a unique baby, a baby that's bold, a risk taker, a confident baby. If the baby is fed at the right moment, the brain development is improved, the bonding, the health situation is better, because all the childhood illnesses that the babies have, if the mother follows the exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months, the baby is protected because the mother passes all the antibodies to the baby. And the fact that a bonded child is a secure, safe child, I don't think, in my mind, I think we need to really do a research. All of my little fellas up in Fox Hill, I don't think we will have that many. If we really. I feel
that's your
so.
theory.
Because, that is, even though I have not done the research yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully, COB and University of the Bahamas will take that as a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
That's interesting. That would be an interesting theory to pursue.
Also,
Linda?
if you have, I use an illustration. If you have two lions that are going to fight in the ring, or even two people, just two animals or two individuals, and they're going to fight in the ring. If you take one and just give them maybe some water, and then the other one is fed a proper meal, and over a period of time, when they go to fight, which one you think going to win? The one that's properly fed.
Now, you've been here before. You've been pushing this for quite a while, right? Are attitudes changing? Are people getting it? It seems that most people are breastfeeding now, right?
In 1993, 3 ladies, including myself, the former president, Mrs. Carlotta Klaas, and a lady from Grand Bahama, Veronica Poite, was sent by the ministry and WHO to do this course, lactation management trainer for trainees in Barbados. And that was a key push for us to come back and change the whole breastfeeding culture,
right,
from formula dependency to breastfeeding. And we fought. We went to the business places to stop advertising formulas, stop receiving free formulas, because people were pushing outdated formulas to us, like we are the developing countries that we have to pick up whatever other people throw away.
Oh, no.
Those kind of things. And then we are signatory to the Inashanti Declaration, which means that we are not to advertise formulas. And so we had to go to businesses and tell them, don't advertise that. Unfortunately, we are receiving the American advertisements, but I think even they're slowly going down.
America has also changed.
Yeah. Wow.
And then we got the families involved. We started looking at the 10 steps for successful breastfeeding. And that gave us the kind of impetus to say, hey, we got to do it. We are trying to get our hospitals baby-friendly. We are still working on it. But I think the general...
What does that mean exactly?
Baby-friendly is taking breastfeeding to following the 10 steps. Putting the baby to the breast as soon as the baby is born, not giving pacifiers, not giving formulas, not giving water exclusively for 6 months, and giving all of the support and encouragement the mother needs. Once I've helped a mother, primary gravid, meaning a mother who has a baby for the first time, I don't have to worry. Why? She's good. She can go and influence the other people in her circle. So that's why I always tell my midwives and students, help them, help them. And if they're crying for help, don't leave them. You teach her well, she's good to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you have numbers as to how things have changed perhaps since the 90s? The percentage of mothers who are breastfeeding as opposed to using formula now?
I don't have a recent number.
It's slow.
Yeah.
It's slow. Because we are fighting on something, in the book, in the Bible, in 1 Samuel, I think it's chapter 2, when Hannah, she prayed for the child, and she breastfed her child until he was weaned, and then when he was weaned, that was her responsibility. Each one of us has a responsibility. But after he was weaned, she took him and loaned him back to the Lord. What she said was, God is a God of knowledge, and he appraises actions. Okay, so in other words, when we do something, right, and we fight in the action area, we start to cause things to happen. If you want to get some food, you want to, like farming, if you want to sustain yourself, you have to take action and plant and then nurture in order for the plant to grow. If we don't do that, we can't get up and say, boy, we don't have any money. We can't get food, and everybody's starving.
Yeah.
Because we haven't taken action God gives us the knowledge, then we have to do something with that knowledge. You know, I think the word science means to know. And so we talk about science, but God is the one who gives us the knowledge. We have to do something with it.
Yeah.
And another thing is, we are a country ravaged by hurricane, all the elements. You don't have to look for sterilizer, formula water with all the flooding and all the bacteria that's floating. This is going from the mother to the baby. So supplier and consumer, no in-betweens. And that is another good thing for us too. And when you're traveling, you don't need to carry formula, bag, different. No, as long as the mother eats well and she's healthy. Even if she's not healthy, she still can breastfeed. No, that's the unique part of it all. And the brain development too. You know, once it's a 40-week baby, you find that the protein from the mother's milk helps develop the baby as well as give it the kind of sustenance it needs.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about use of breast milk here. We're talking about the entire act of breastfeeding.
Yes.
And we talk about shared responsibility. We need the system, the health system, to recognize the importance of it. The communities, the church, the men, the family. You know, before people used to be so shy to do it. That's a woman's right to breastfeed. That's a baby's right to breastfeed. And how can we? Certain people don't want you to do that. I tell the women, that's your right. Protect, feed your baby. You know, don't let anybody control. It's up to you. If you don't want to, that's another thing. But if you have to, we need to stand up. And the fathers, I said, please tell your wives, help breastfeed. And if they want to come and help you, massage her back or something if she's tired. And if you're coming to visit me, don't feed the baby the bottle. Help me clean the dishes and wash her clothes or something like that, so that you're helping me, that I am, you know.
So what about people who go back and forth between bottle and breast, and who say, oh, right now I don't have time, just do some formula. What does that do?
Diluting the effect. You dilute the effect of breast milk. Because you see, when you compare the formula with the breast milk is alive. Formula is dead food. Okay, and it has no brain food in it. It has no antibodies, you know, and
what mother has built.
Yes, and then not only that, breast milk has serotonin. It's a neurotransmitter that when you have a deficiency in serotonin, it causes violent behavior. So we look at our society, and we see that that there's a deficiency in serotonin, and you don't get it out of formula.
And you know, recently, you look at as I said, I don't have research yet, but I'm hoping that they will take this as a baton and carry, especially the students at University of the Bahamas, to take that story about the violence that is around us now. We never used to have that. When I first came to this country, I was quite comfortable. I went to UWI to do one of the degrees, nursing administration. And the hospital I visited in Cornwall, every other bed had a cut, stick up, and stabbing. That was in 1989. I told the doctor that was taking me around, I said, you know, we don't do that in the Bahamas. Right. We don't. When I come back now, years later, I say, hey, just like that. We are just as naughty of society.
When did we start to change? When did we move away from breastfed
I think
babies?
what happened is earlier on, the women breastfed. And then when the women started going to work, that changed the whole landscape. And then they thought that giving the formula as being very
sophisticated.
And they thought they were doing the right thing for the baby because they're giving the best thing for the baby in their mind.
Yeah.
So we had to come and change that because even nurses weren't pushing it as they ought to.
We didn't know.
They were
just learning more about it now.
You know, when I was when I went in as a nurse, one of the areas that we had in the hospital was what we call the milk kitchen.
Yes.
Where they didn't push breastfeeding. You had to say, I want to breastfeed. They thought, oh, the woman's tired and let her go sleep and let's just give the baby this. But what we didn't know was that anything that you put in a newborn baby's stomach other than breast milk immediately destroys 17 of the good fighting bacteria. Okay? Now, you understand the foundation? And so I used to work in the milk kitchen, and we had every formula. Whatever the woman desired to have, so we would go in every department, children's ward, maternity ward, private surgical, and we would make the milk. Now, we don't have any more milk kitchen because we have been we have been educated.
Yeah, my goodness.
And so just because you are a nurse or a doctor, it doesn't mean you know that. I had to learn it. I went to the University of College of London in 2005. I did a breastfeeding practice and policy course. In my class were doctors, nurses, nutritionists from all over the world. Nepal, India, Asia, the United States, London, Africa. They were all in my class, and we were all learning about the breastfeeding practice and policy. You know, we had to be untrained. You know, this all started with us when we were coming on the boats from Africa. This is documented. That is documented. That the plantation owner said, these African women are too lazy. They're looking for excuse to stay home, saying they have to breastfeed. Okay? So the command was given. As soon as they give birth, send them out in the field. You have your baby 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you're out in the field. And then they say, get rid of the useless breast milk. And then they started the cow, okay? And so the cow began, and, you know, my grandmother used to always say, if you give your children animal food, they're going to carry on like animals. And so this is what we're having. We're not having, and even with you know, when they had the mad cow disease, they were trying to figure out where this infection come from with the cow. And so there was research done to, you know, the source where it first came. And when they studied the area where they were feeding the cows, where the mad cow disease came from, they discovered cows are plant eaters. But they were feeding the cows animal food. And so the cows got mad. Okay? So even the cow will go off course because you're giving him something that God didn't design.
Wow.
And God is a God of knowledge. So God gives us the knowledge, and he provides. When he gives a vision, he gives provision.
All right.
And that is our breast.
We're running out of time.
Okay.
What if for mothers who can't produce? What do
what
you
is
do?
your suggestion there for and maybe mothers who die at birth and there is no mother?
There is a what do you call it? Another mother, wet nurse can feed her. Even a mother who's had a baby for a while, if she's
human milk donation. When we came back from London in 2005, we approached the Minister of Health and to get an appointment. So because we were taught and trained how to develop a human milk bank. There was several things that happened and they've changed ministers of health, and we didn't get that but we are still working on it. When they had, I think in 2010, when they had something happened in either an earthquake or something happened in, or cholera or what, outbreak in Haiti. Do you know the United States and London and different areas, they have human milk banks where they provide. And there was a premature baby unit years ago where they started donating human milk in the premature baby unit, and the death rate went to nil when they gave human milk. And so the United States in 2010, they didn't send formula to Haiti. They sent human milk. Okay? So
how long can it last in terms of transportation?
It lasts, okay, if you have to, well, there are procedures to be able to send it. Now, see, okay, breast milk lasts for 6 to 10 hours at room temperature. Okay? That's a whole mother's work shift. And it lasts for 6 days in the fridge, 6 months in the freezer, and in the deep freeze for a year to 18 months. Now, you never heat breast milk because you kill the living cells, but you can put it in a frozen state, okay? And then if you're going to use it the next day, you thaw it out in the fridge overnight, and then you bring it out to room temperature. And if it's still cool, you can bring it in some mild, lukewarm water to be able to give to the baby. Right. But when the baby gets the breast milk, there is a whole lot of difference. I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
This starts, when we talk about shared responsibility, and it starts from, when Mrs. Simonet was talking about starting from the 40 weeks. I have an article here. You can read it when I'm finished. It's talking about a baby's brain at 35 weeks weighs only 2/3 of what it will weigh at 39 to 40 weeks. So God designed 40 weeks of pregnancy, right? To get that baby in the right position for the breast milk. We have to have, as long as the baby is, the mother's healthy, let the pregnancy go at least to 39 plus weeks. Because if they don't, okay, in the last 6 weeks of pregnancy, the baby's brain adds connections. It needed for balance, okay? Coordination, learning, social functioning. During this time, the size of the baby's brain doubles, okay? The next thing, too, is if the baby comes out before time, right? The baby can have the learning abilities is not as strong as if they go to the 39 to 40 weeks of pregnancy. And babies who are born early are more likely to have feeding problems because they can't coordinate sucking, swallowing, and breathing as well as full-term babies. Right. So you see, we start from the foundation.
Definitely. How can we get more information? Very quickly, how can we reach you all or get more information about
on
breastfeeding?
Bahamas, the Facebook.
On Facebook.
Bahamas National Breastfeeding Association. And we have a very dynamic young president, Trinica Hall.
Oh, yes, definitely.
What I'm saying is she'll get you there and she'll give you the hand. And we all help. Yeah. We go on the phone, we do a video conferencing, we talk them through, we walk them through. Even with the COVID, we have been helping people like that, Excellent. But they need to reach out because a new mother needs all the help. She's new, she doesn't know what to do. And so, and once she gets that kind of support, she'll be successful. Yeah. Talking about disaster, she was saying about Haiti. I was there after the earthquake as a health respondent. And seeing the situation there, one can believe that they really needed it. That's why we, living in this region, need to appreciate that. breastfeeding is the way to go. And the mother holds a baby, so she doesn't have to go looking for, even if the flood is somewhere, she can step high and breastfeed the baby. You know?
Both of you, thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Nurse Hall, who's very, as you said, very enthusiastic about this. But Linnell Thompson and Happy Simonette, thank you again. Appreciate it. And keep up the great work that you're doing.
I thank the media. Media have been helping us. They've been so generous with their time to listen to us. And I think we might have convinced a few of them to follow us, you know.
It says faith comes by hearing. And so the more you hear an education, you're educated, right? It helps. Sorry.
No, we got to go. But thank you so much again. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll be back with Morning Blend Business in just a bit.
Thank you.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards, and this morning we are talking about energy. We are talking about where we are today and what we need for the future. And joining us this morning, welcome back from the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, Debbie Deals. She's the Director of Energy and the Environment. And always a pleasure.
Inviting me. It's always fun to talk about things that I'm passionate about.
Yes. All right. So we all know where we are at with, especially here in New Providence. But from a professional standpoint, what are we really looking at? I mean, we know that we still have a lot of outages. We know that while it might not be as bad as it was in 2019, this summer has been challenging. There's been excuse after excuse for what's happened, but we are seeing outages frequently here, and other islands are saying the same thing. So from your perspective, what is the issue? And then we can talk about where we go from here.
It's, I don't like to say anything that is negative, but I don't know how to just word it again in a positive light, right? We have had outages. I can remember 36 years ago, Christmas Day, the power was out the entire day. Mm-hmm. That's my first time I remembered the power out because, of course, it was a definite day that you would remember anyways because it's Christmas and everybody's taking photographs. Mm-hmm. And it's also a day where you need your oven.
Yeah.
And you can't use your oven. How do you cook your ham or turkey or whatever it is that or your goose or whatever you're cooking, right? Mm-hmm. How do you cook it like that, right? So this has been happening for many different boards of directors, boards of BPL, right? Yeah. So it's not just one, it's many. Mm-hmm. And it's consistent. Well, they've replaced engines, right, over time. They have, tried to work with doing different fuels. We're now not bunker C anymore, which is much better for the environment because, even freighters and cruise ships have to now switch to LNG by 2022, mandated around the world. So, there are things that, and then, there's talk about doing LNG here and that kind of thing. So there is movement towards the positive but it's not fast enough. So to me, and again, Donovan Moxie was on Zhivago Lang last week, Thursday, talking about they have a plan of action, and they have 5 different categories on it, right? And they're all well and good, but the grid cannot handle persons who want to do alternative energy, right? Most of us, first of all, an energy company is supposed to supply reliable, safe, cost-efficient, cost-effective energy. But an energy company should also be the one to encourage economic growth. How can we grow if we don't have constant, consistent power? Yet there's one thing we can do when we build a house or when we create a business and build a building or adopt somebody else's building. We can add our own generators, which basically these days you have no choice. So you are actually supplying to yourself 2 different forms of energy. You're supplying BPL, which we have to. It's mandated that we have to use the utilities of the country. And then we have to supply our own energy, and not just a generator, but a generator with a double throw switch so that it automatically goes on. Some businesses, I went to see the IT room at the Prime Minister's office because we were doing a project for the gaming board and we needed to have something similar. They had 5 UPSs right beside, so that when the power went out, if this one was for 4 hours, this was 4 hours, so that they never had an outage. Because in some businesses, you cannot have an outage. We are trying to attract business back to the Bahamas. COVID, we were so fortunate to get high-end guests coming to our country, which we really haven't had much of since the 60s, right? That's how tourism started, with the wealthy coming to the Bahamas. It showed during COVID that the wealthy still were coming. They were coming in yachts and they were flying in on their own planes and jets, and they were, renting Airbnbs, and they were buying property. And, you could see from the cost of houses that went up in Harbor Island. There was a house right on the harbor that was recently, before that, had been $800,000 and ended up selling for something like $4 million. The property prices have escalated. We now have that group back. But those people want, just like we want, but those people, yes, but those people want excellent service for their investment. And they deserve it, as do we. We should not have to be. There was a thing on the BPL community on Monday. What day was the rain? Monday. Yeah. God and the Prime Minister, God, and the Met Office planned that, so you didn't have to worry about outdoor parties.
Right. I figured somebody was going to say that.
Yeah. Well, it was the first thing I thought in the morning when it was raining. I thought,
how
way to go, guys. Way to go. Because I'm really a fan of not these big groups. Anyway, so what was I saying? I got lost. People coming into the country and energy. So we need to have the same thing as tourists need, because there's a report on the BPL community saying due to inclement weather, Fox Hill, Prince Charles, Cable Bahamas, and blah blah are out of power, right? But we're on it. We're going to correct it, kind of thing. Well, okay, if you're home and it's raining, it doesn't yet matter if it's your home, and you have cable, so you can't. For me, I don't have internet either. If I don't have that, so I don't have internet, I don't have cable. So you're stuck. If you're on Zoom meetings, what are you going to do? During the summer when people were, during the last year here when people were teaching their children online, you would get just ready for your class, and all of a sudden, boom, you're gone. So the people that have generators would be able to go to that class, but the people without wouldn't. We can't do that any longer. And the solutions that I saw, they're very good. They're always very good solutions. But why does it never work? To me, in my estimation, in a regular business, and by the way, the BPL is a member of good standing with the Chamber of Commerce, and we are the lowest priced energy in the Caribbean and South America. We are. I have been on Zoom meetings.
Has it always been like that?
No, only since they reduced the
Okay.
fuel charge to 10.
Right.
Right? Jamaica at one point was, Barbados at one point was. But if you look at the other Caribbean countries that are having issues, and it's the exact same issues as we are, and they never seem to be able to get out of it, it's management. It's not being jokingly, I would have to think that the directors and head CEOs and CFOs and all that kind of stuff at BPL, they must all have generators. Because it doesn't seem to ever change for us, right? And we have to consider that, let me just go back. We have to consider that the average person who starts a business, like the Prime Minister has had the country given a lot of money with regard to small, micro, medium businesses, right? It has been hugely successful. If you listen to Davinia Blair talk, she's been on your show many times.
Right.
She will talk about the successes, the huge successes that have been done through that, right? And we don't, in categories around the world, we don't even have a large business here. Atlantis and Bahama are not really considered large. They're kind of medium, right?
Wow.
But we here live by small to medium and micro businesses. The guy down the street who sits on the corner and he sells things, right? The guy who does coconuts and gets the water and you know, all the smaller things that we've been able to survive on. People who wash cars that make more money than I make in a week. And so we have to encourage the management of BPL to look at what is the main problem now. And the main problem is the grid with alternative energy. But because the grid is not able to receive the 6 o'clock hour, when people come home from work, they turn on their air condition and boom, you know, it's gone. It's too much for the aging system that we have. So we know that needs to be replaced, right? We know that the transmission and distribution lines are horrible because they're old. They're 50, 60 years old. I mean, there's one person on this BPL community that I'm on, and it's Hannah Road, and I don't know who it is, but 3 to 4 times a week, it comes up in the morning, power's off again. And I never used to say anything, and now I go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Not again, I feel so bad for you. You know, it's almost like I'd like the group of us to put some money together and buy this person a small, 3 kW generator so that these people don't have to go through this. They are just as worthy citizens as the rest of us, and they deserve better. So again, if it were me, and it's not me, it has nothing to do with me at all, but if it were me, I would want to change something that hasn't been changed for over the last 60 years. Now, I know in some of the things they're going to do with this new contract that's just been awarded to Wärtsilä. I never saw the RFP for it, though, but I guess that doesn't matter. But they are supposed to be looking at making the grid smart, and they are also to look at what they can do with transmission and distribution. But it was vague as to what they were really going to do. Those are the main things that are issues right now. We have new engines. We have a new engine at Blue Hill, right? We have that it's the GE engine. We've gotten rid of half of our backup generation, from what I'm understanding. I think 40 megawatts of that has, I think that's been returned to Aggreko.
Yeah, some returned and some taken to the Family Islands.
Yes. And then, which basically shows that the systems that we have in the Family Island, which we know are ancient, right? No, in my business, I can't do that. I'm a contractor. I can't build now the same way I did 38 years ago. I cannot do it. I have had to upgrade every single thing that we have done to make sure that we are giving the quality of a product to our clients that not only do they deserve, but will actually withstand hurricane 5, 6 category hurricanes. We can't no longer, and we're getting more. I mean, I remember like 5, 6 years we didn't have a hurricane anywhere in the Bahamas, and now it's just a throw of the dice every year as to which island is going to get it. Right? Last year, I kept praying to God. I'd sit in the morning and I'd say, please God, send all of the hurricanes out to sea, so that they don't affect anybody. Send it out to sea, and we were very, very, very lucky last year. You know,
we did need that on top of COVID.
Oh man, right? I mean, so. to me, those are the issues. And then how do we fix it? We fix it. One thing that Dr. Moxie said was that government does not insist on BPL. I'm almost saying it word for word, on BPL, giving them a bonus or a check or whatever at the end of the year for their share of the profits.
Right.
They just want the company to be able to sustain itself, right? So what they've decided to do is they have decided to work on a plan to not only sustain itself, but to also be able to grow from the profits of the company so that they don't have to keep going to government. So I don't know what those plans are. There's many ways, actually, truthfully, they could do it. I don't know why they didn't take their Blue Hill Road store and have that as a store that sold LED light bulbs and anything else that was energy efficient. When people are in there standing in line to pay, give them numbers and let them browse and shop in your little, because there's a huge area there that they could shop in, right? To me, those are things. I mean, why not? Let's see what we can do to make additional funds, right? And also teach people about conservation, right? Lower people's bills, right? I mean, there's so many, but it's just, we see it from one point of view, right? Because we see it as a consumer.
Right.
We don't see it as somebody who works at BPL or as the board. We don't see it that way. And somehow the two minds have to come together so that they understand why the average person, if BPL was a political party, would people vote for them? I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. We need to be able to have economic growth. We need to continue with the wealthy persons that are coming to the country. And I'm not trying to be derogatory by saying that. We could get guests that don't have any money. We love to have people come to the country for whatever reason. But for the economy to grow, we need to keep the people, since, banking is no longer a major business in the country anymore because there's so many rules and regulations worldwide that have really curbed what we can do there. And so we really need to not only think of other things that we can do, like the small to medium businesses and that type of thing, that we need to do that have no relation to tourism at all, right? But then we also need to, if we're going to have tourism, let's make it the best that we can possibly make it and give them the best.
Let's talk more about the grid tie. And
Okay.
We've been talking about this for a very long time.
Yes.
But right now, what do you understand? If I really wanted to go do more on my own with solar or whatever it is, how difficult would it be to send some energy back to BPL? I mean,
No. Well, right now, I think a reason a lot of people don't do it is because you can no longer. Okay, you can have your own energy system if you want to, and be totally off of the grid, right? And just pay for the meter. You can do that, right? Which is, if I was going to do it, when I get the money to eventually get to that point in my life of having, and figuring out where to put them because I got a red clay tile roof. Yikes! So anyway. We need to figure out, so you could do that.
That's easy.
That's-
if you've got the money.
That's easy. If
Right.
you've got the
If you've got the
money,
money, that's
it's easy.
easy.
And
Yeah.
what I would have as my backup is I would have a generator instead of BPL, because I know that I'm turning on my own generator. I don't have to wait to see if BPL is going to have energy that day, right? So that's one. But the thing is, you have to return, and it's limited to what you can have. A household person here is 5 kilowatts for a homeowner, and it's 100 kilowatts for, I think they may have raised them up a little bit, but 100 kilowatts for a commercial entity, and then you can ask for approval to make it larger, right? But, hang on, I have my notes here, and I forgot what I was going to say. But the thing is, when you do solar now, you must return it to the grid. You must return it to the grid. Whatever you're not using would go back to the grid instead of. I guess you could do your energy for you. You could do your backup batteries if you have them, and charge them up, and then whatever excess would go back to BPL. The only thing you get for that these days is your fuel surcharge. Well, our fuel surcharge went from 19 to 10. So if you put in your system when it was 19, you were doing kind of okay. But when they reduced it to 10, you've now lost 9 cents a kilowatt, right? So it hasn't been that advantageous. So for me, and I know that BPL doesn't want to lose money, so they don't want to lose clients. So they need to, I guess, try to figure out how could they do it, because we have to. We don't even have, 4% of alternative energy, and by 2030, we have to have 30% of our energy on alternative energy. We have a long way to go. And the only way we're going to do it is to have government and BPL work along with us to actually achieve that. Even though it's Ministry of the Environment, we need to make sure that actually happens, right? So those are the things that are concerning for me. I would have done, anyway, life happened and I wasn't able to do the solar, but I would have done solar right from the get-go if I could have done it without having to use BPL. You know, now batteries are so inexpensive.
So it is mandatory now. You cannot be entirely off the grid.
You can.
You can.
You can. But once you're off the grid, you're off the grid.
Right.
You're on your own, right? But you just have to pay for the meter. And when you're building, basically, you may decide to go off the grid now, but they can't eliminate electricity coming to your wherever you are, because otherwise then they got to keep digging up the road every time somebody builds. So the infrastructure will still always go in, and it's the option you have the option to do it if you want to or not do it, right? I mean, truthfully, you don't. The thing with solar is you can use solar anytime you want to, but for the average person, you cannot use a generator when BPL is providing power because it's against the law.
Right.
The law is you must use that. So it's not like you could get your meter put in and then say, oh, to heck with it, I'm just going to use a generator. Well, first of all, your neighbors are going to complain because of the noise all the time. I mean, I'd be at your door all the time.
Right.
Alternative energy, solar, there's absolutely no noise, right? So there's so many benefits. It's just making sure, ERCA has to make sure that BPL makes money and it doesn't lose everything because of not making sure that you're protecting that person. But then they also have to protect us with safe, reliable, energy efficient, cost efficient energy, which they have actually done. They're now doing a review of all of the the income and charges and everything that BPL are doing, and they've made a couple changes, which is good. So they are also trying to take care of both parties, right? Make you happy and make you happy. At the end of the day, it's a challenge because also ERCA was really just a telecommunications regulator, and they have gone into energy. So this is new territory for them as well. So these are things that we have to think about, that we are in a new frontier, but how do we as a country survive without power? And it's for me, it's just, I just moan and groan every single time it happens.
So do you know how many people are doing the grid tie-in at the moment? Do you have any idea, any numbers at all?
I don't know, but I could find out for you. I could find out for you. Most of the people that. No, everybody's grid tie. I don't know of anybody who's not on the grid, except for maybe family islands. Like, what was that island that wealthy person did? That they did the wind and everything over yonder key, I think it's called. Yeah, I don't know anybody here. I think that is using without. Yeah. I don't think anybody. But again, I could be wrong. I would have to go to my alternative energy group and ask them.
All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the near future and further down the line.
Okay.
What you'd like to see, what you think would be the best direction to go in, and whether it appears we're heading down that same path at all. We're talking with Debbie Deal, and this is a Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Wait, you know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing the knife to school? He could do Junior in. For what? Well, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't bark down for nothing. So that means he got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you want?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, how many boys coming for me next?
All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how do I work?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Croc Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the call go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Switching your mortgage to CIBC First Caribbean is easy, affordable, and convenient. We'll help with your switching cost, give you 3 months payment free, and waive your commitment fees so you can enjoy the break you need. Plus, you'll get up to 95% financing and a pre-approved Visa Gold or Platinum credit card with 5,000 bonus reward points and more. Switch your home base to CIBC First Caribbean. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The Bahamian economy began a slow turnaround amid the COVID-19 pandemic during the first half of the year, according to the central bank and central bank governor John Roll. Roll yesterday pointing to gains in tourism activity, which bolstered reserves and foreign currency sales. The most recent data from the Ministry of Tourism showed that total foreign arrivals during the month of May stood at 93,876. New data from Nassau Airport Development Company revealing that total departures net of tourism passengers recovered to 84,559. Roll says that the rebuilding in tourism has been most marked in respect of the second quarter of the year, although on a year-to-date basis, this half-year outcome is still lower than in 2020. Governor Roll also pointing to a significant portion of funds remaining in the external reserves for reinsurance payments following Hurricane Dorian. He says that they're better off being spent than sitting in the external reserves, which is in mid-July stood at $2.6 billion. During a quarterly economic briefing, Roll said that there is at least $200 million in reinsurance receipts that remain unspent that could help bolster the economy much faster as it emerges from the COVID-19 pandemic. And the U.S. Department of State's 2021 investment climate statements on the Bahamas outlining significant downsides to investment in the country, listing things such as a lack of transparency in government procurement, high labor costs, and inefficient approvals processes as continuing pain points to doing business in the country. According to the U.S. Department of State's website, the investment climate statements provide country-specific information on the business climates of more than 170 countries and economies and are prepared by embassy officers in those countries. The statement explains to potential investors that while the Bahamas' position includes its political stability, English-speaking workforce, stable financial services industry, rule of law, respect for contracts, independent judicial system, and strong purchasing power, the outlined negatives continue to be barriers to business in the country, and that foreign business people have asked that these change. They've been asking for that to change for decades. You can read more on that in today's Guardian Business section. Overseas, PepsiCo will sell Tropicana and other juices to a private equity firm in a $3.3 billion deal. The New York Drink and Snack Company will keep a 39% non-controlling stake in the newly formed joint venture in the deal with PAI Partners. The sale reflects the industry's uncertainty about demand for fruit juice as consumers look for healthier options with less sugar. According to market researchers, U.S. juice sales volumes actually rose last year as more people enjoyed breakfast at home during the pandemic and sought the immunity benefits of vitamin C. But that was a blip, apparently, in a longer-term decline. Overall juice sales fell 3% between 2015 and 2020. Juice consumption in the U.S. peaked in 2003 at 4.2 billion gallons, but by 2017 had fallen to 3 billion gallons. Pepsi's rival Coca-Cola has been shedding brands as well, but is holding on to Minute Maid and Simply Juice brands for now. The juice business delivered about $3 billion in revenue for Pepsi last year, but at operating profit margins that were below the company's overall margins. In your market watch, recapping trading on the BISX. From Tuesday, your market movers, Cable Bahamas moving 3,900, closing at 325 unchanged. Commonwealth Bank moving 11,000, unchanged at 274. Commonwealth Brewery moving 2,000, up 48 cents to 575. Consolidated Water up 3 cents to 254. Emira Incorporated unchanged at 1141. The BISX All Share Index closing at 1,974.58, up 6.39. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
We are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. We are talking with the powerful Debbie Deal, Director of Energy and Environment with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation. All right. So we're talking about where we need to go and in the near term and for the future in order to meet capacity with more and more people moving to New Providence, it seems, the tourism industry booming and likely to get bigger over the next year at least. Are we able, what are we going to do if we continue on this path?
I have a solution, and I've had this solution for about a year, and I've been investigating it. So BPL in their press conference last week also mentioned that they're looking for a third-party baseload provider. And what that is a company that can provide high-efficiency machines that are very reliable, machines that can stay running at a high load continuously. Mm-hmm. That's what they're looking for. Now, one thing that we are really good at in the Bahamas is borrowing money. Mm. And the energy company is also very good at borrowing money because it's a government entity, and they have been able to, up to this point, be able to go to cabinet to apply for funds to pay off old loans or whatever that they need to do, right? Mm-hmm. But this is what I would do. And PepsiCo, you're just reminded me of that. Okay, mm-hmm. So what I would do is if this was my company, like if Debbie Deal owned BPL, mm-hmm. Well, Contemporary Builders is me, but BPL. Mm-hmm. So what I would do is I would look for a strategic partner that would be the partner to do that. And that person, that entity they would provide the equipment. Well, you watch Shark Tank, so you know probably all about it. So right. They would provide the equipment, and they would get a percentage of their payback would be in a percentage of profits, right? And it would be for a certain amount of time, and then at one point, and then maybe 5 years later or whatever, a lump sum would be paid to pay the balance. Mm-hmm. They would be a strategic partner. If you look at Jamaica has Korea and Japan as strategic partners. And guess what? That's where the equipment comes from. Mm-hmm. So the people who are providing the equipment are strategic partners. So the country doesn't have to come up with the money, they come up with the benefit. And then they would be able to, the strategic partner would be able to get funding, get their funds back from that.
Is this very different? I mean, it keeps changing with what the plan was with Shell. Is it?
I was just going to ask.
It sounds similar.
But we don't really know.
Right.
There's a difference. No,
it was like that, and then we don't know where
there's
it
a
is
difference.
now.
Shell was part of an RFP. I'm not talking about putting it out to bid.
Okay.
I'm more interested in a strategic partner coming to BPL and saying, I don't want to enter in an RFP because I want to buy a percentage of your company. An RFP is looking for somebody to provide a service and then you go, right? It's a one-time deal. I'm talking about a strategic partner that would come to them and say, listen, we would like to partner with you with your energy company. We'll take, I don't know, I'm going to just pull things out of my head because I haven't thought this far apart. We want 30% of your company.
Okay, but now you mentioned Shark Tank. Usually those sharks, they're looking for a company with value that they see going
do you
places.
notice the one guy?
Why would anybody do that with BPL?
Well, one of the guys, the guy in the middle, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he's the one that says that he's the, I don't know.
Mr. Fantastic?
That's the guy. Oh, my goodness gracious. He is always looking for, he wants equity, right? He's always looking for equity, or he's looking for, what's the other word that he looks for? Something where you get money forever. I can't remember what it was, like $1.
Royalties.
Royalties, $1 per sale per forever kind of thing, right? So there is a way of doing it without, and just being the partner in the company. Now, the reason, it's very difficult to lend money or go in as a partner that you are, it's an RFP, so you have to either come up with a way of funding it yourself or the government has to fund it as well. This is where you actually get a partner, where you actually have somebody else sitting at the table. And that entity would be able to advise, and I'm not saying that the company needs advice, but I'm just saying that company would be able to advise, what can we do with these new engines that we're going to get? And how can we work that into the grid, the smart grid, and to the transmission and distribution, and alternative energy growing in the country? And you would actually have that. I mean, one of the other entities that Jamaica has is an alternative energy company that is a partner as well.
Right.
So you don't always have to. You know, some people don't want anybody in there giving them advice, so they would rather just, let's find the money and pay for it, and, you know, we don't have to deal with them anymore. But once you don't deal with them anymore, who's going to maintain what you do, right? A strategic partner will come in and maintain that as well. And I'm not saying get rid of BPL employees. I don't mean it in that sense. I mean it as in you make these engines. You know what they need. You know that every day they need this, and every month they need this, and every 3 months they need this, and you make sure those things are done. And you train the staff. You train the people to actually do that, right? So you would actually give better jobs to people because they would be able to deal with this, and they'd be hired by this company that would be the strategic. That's what I would do. That would work in the short term, and it would definitely work in the long term.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would do. Because, you know, I'm also a business owner, and I know sometimes I just don't have the money to do what I need to do. You know, if you need a bunch of heavy equipment and you've got a job, let's say a Family Island job, and you think about how much is it going to cost for me to rent a payloader to go to Rum Cay, you know, we used to do tower bases and all the Family Islands for BTC. So I'm very familiar with barging equipment, doing a job for 6 weeks and bringing it back. Sometimes it's better to buy your own darn equipment because by the time you pay them for a day, and it's like $2,000 a day, and you're there for 30 days, you could have bought two.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying that that's what I would do as a business owner. And I'm not saying that they're not doing it right, but that's what I would think of doing in the position they're in now.
All right, so you can call in if you have your views on this, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Chester looks like he has a question.
Well, I want to air a bit of a grievance because for a long time, being in the media, I heard from government all the time, we keep saying, why don't we do solar? Why don't we do solar? Why don't we do solar? And people kept saying, well, the sun don't shine all the time. And
I think I heard that last week from somebody.
But you know what? Right? You know, the sun does not. It does not shine at night, right?
Right.
Okay, so you need battery backup.
Right.
Right. So now hydrogen is the new lithium, right? It's the new, and it's environmentally friendly.
Right.
And that's the way. If you go to California, everything is hydrogen. Even the battery generation for electric cars, which they are huge on, right? These are the things that people can do. It's a stupid thing to say that the sun doesn't shine 24/7. No, but I did a house in Charlottesville back in 2009, and we put solar in it, and we put backup batteries as well, and we did enough backup battery that it worked from nighttime to 6 o'clock in the morning, right? So, and during the day, it energized the house, it filled the batteries, and then the rest, we didn't do any grid going back on the grid with that one. We changed it ourselves, so we didn't have to have anything go back to the grid because they were still in questions about how are we going to do this. So we just said, and you don't have to go back on the grid if you don't want to. You can adjust it. So I mean, there are things that you can actually do. And it's crazy to say that because, it's kind of like saying, well, I have a room in my house that doesn't have, and it has no windows, so it doesn't have any light. Okay, well, you turn on a light. The architect should be shot for designing that, but you just turn on a light. And at nighttime, your air condition, yes, you'd want that on. You'd want your security system on. You'd want your your backup, your exterior lights, that kind of thing. You'd want those kind of things on. So you could always adjust your own system because alternative energy systems are also very smart. You can adjust it to what you want it to provide. So you could adjust it so the battery, the amount of kilowatts that you have for the night could actually do the things that need to be done. I mean, it's simple.
And the thing is, they got this battery storage now from Wärtsilä that they're putting at Blue Hills. And now they're saying, that solar that we weren't so sure about, we can do that now. It just baffles me, right? Because
when you think about somebody like a country like Germany that has I think 1/3 of the year days in the year they have sun, yet they are one of the largest providers of solar in the world. I mean,
You're just making excuses.
It is. To me, it's just, we don't want you to do it. We want to give you a million reasons why you don't, because we are conspiracy theorists in this country. We like that. So we'll believe the negative before we'll believe the positive.
Let's take this call, and then I want to ask you what we as consumers should be doing while the company sorts itself out and while the sector works itself out. What do we do in the meantime? Good morning, caller, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Pleasant day, pleasant day.
Yeah, same to you.
Remind me of the days when I was in business school. I love the things that I'm hearing.
Okay.
And I'm zooming in on a key word, strategic partner.
Yes.
I am pitting the word strategic with tactical. Tactical is short term.
Yes.
Strategic is long term. And I would dare say that once there is a will, and that's the most important thing, once there is a will, it will and can be done.
Absolutely.
I love the comparison and the extraction from what has been happening in Jamaica. While I wait on the call to be answered, I thought also of our consumption need, even though Jamaica is a larger country with a greater population. Because of our consumption need, I think we can get it done. Look at what was said about Germany. It's the most populous country in Europe, and the daylight period being just 1/3. So I just think that there must be a will, and that will is that strategic, long term.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, caller. Appreciate it. All right, let's take this call quickly. We've got some great messages here. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, the power messengers. Yeah, especially, when the power lady is on, you're going to get a call from Amy. All right. I love what she's saying. The time has come. Boy, nothing beats time, eh? That's why I say power, sun, time. Now, I need the Bahamian people to recognize what our governments, okay, what we, the Bahamian people, the taxpayers, have spent on energy in the last 48 years. We could have the most modern,
Amen,
electrical powered by wind and current energy that the world have ever seen. Do you know how much months this wind what's blowing outside right now was blowing in 2021? See, these are the things I pay attention to.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying is not to bring and condemn any government, because nothing happens if you don't try.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yep. Interesting points he's making there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Go ahead with the text messages.
Yep.
I have something more to say, but I need a bit more time.
All right. We're going to have you back, clearly. This
sorry.
person says elimination of duty on batteries for solar panel systems would further benefit the environment over hundreds of diesel burning generators.
Well, they are. Unfortunately, how it's worded now is it's a kit. So if you buy a kit, which is everything to do with the solar, whether it's the panels, racking system, I can't even think of the word, and batteries, inverter and batteries. If you buy the kit, it's duty free. But what happens, unfortunately, is if you buy things individually, you pay 45% duty, which is insane. So that needs to be changed. But we put it in every June. Whether it happens or not is a whole other story.
Wow. We've heard BPL say they're going to do this, but this texter's asking, would a pay-as-you-go system be better and cheaper?
You've listened to me for years, and I've talked about the prepaid meters that they had here for years, not putting them in, but yes, because that not only does it reduce your energy consumption, because as your meter is running out and you're down to $2 and you're thinking, oh crap, I need power. So you start cutting off everything that you need to cut off to actually make sure that you do it. It makes people very energy conscious, and it is a better way to go. Why should BPL have the debt? Right? You should not be getting energy before you pay for it, because you don't know how much you're gonna use, and where's the money going to come from if they don't pay?
Right.
If you go no Cable Bahamas has you pay in advance. When you get your bill August 1st, that is for August.
Yeah.
That's not for July. So you're always paying in advance, right? I mean, those are the things that we should actually be doing here. That way you don't, first of all, as a person who may lose their job and all of a sudden 6 months later you can't pay your bill and you're cut off and you're one of those 5,000 people that don't have power, you would never be in that situation.
Yeah.
So there's no reason in the world why that person shouldn't be able to just put on $100 here, $100 there, and you can do them with credit cards now. You can swipe your own meter,
right?
Right, or your own, you can swipe your own meter. So why not? There's no reason why you don't do that, and that way the BPL will never ever be owed money from anybody.
Again, they've been talking about it for years. Any idea when they're going to finally do this?
Oh gosh, they were going to do Spanish
first. They said, right?
Oh, I don't know. They see what I mean? They're not consumers.
No.
They said when I met with Bannister back in 2017, he said we need to try it somewhere first. So they were going to try it in Spanish Wells. Spanish Wells people didn't want to do that because they have their own energy company. They have their own supply. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
All right, so we're gonna have to do a part two, maybe next week.
Sure.
And we'll talk about what we can do as consumers to prepare ourselves for whatever comes, whether this gets any better or not. What we can do.
YouTube BCCEC Green Initiative.
Okay.
12 amazing tips that will save you at least a third of your energy bill.
Wow.
Yep, and we were talking about this as well with more and more people heading towards the electric vehicles. What you need to do to prepare your homes or everything for that.
Sure.
So a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
Good to have a deal. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Chester, thank
Always
you.
a pleasure.
See you next week. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great one. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.